My name is Marjorie Mackie. I am from Saskatchewan, the most mountainous place in the world. I came from Saskatchewan, and I was one of those people that are the Dumont, Louis Riel people, or it's Métis that came from Winnipeg and moved west. They call it when the creaking wagons stopped, and that's where the Aboriginal and the people from the forts in Winnipeg set out for. Their destination was the flattest country, and it was a good place to farm and stuff like that, and that's how they came about. My involvement became with Round Lake around 1967. I was working in the A&D as an A&D field counselor at the Okanagan, at the, oh God, I can't do it, I'm sorry. My involvement became when I was an A&D counselor who got funding to be trained by the Nietzsche people, which was the only way at that time to have native trained A&D counselors. And I was sponsored by Jim Batiste of the Incomeek Reserve and Irene Alec. I took my training where we went to Vancouver and worked for a couple of weeks, then we'd come home and then we'd go there. My children often laugh very happily about when I became Indianized, because it was the cultural way of healing that was first introduced to me, and I think I cried for about 6 weeks, all the way through that and beyond, and I kind of thought my only notoriety or right to work as a counselor for A&D was that I'd been such a alcoholic behavior and stuff. And they were my people. I loved them. And when I got sober, I wanted the world to be sober. And so I began my work with treatment and healing. I was a board member from down Oliver Azuias Way, and my other community was Karamias. I think I already said that. And I can't remember that lady's name. Jesus, it's awful. She's an elder. When I can't remember her name, I better not talk. Anyhow, she was in Penticton Reserve, and she sponsored me into becoming a member of the board when they had quite a few meetings before that. And when I joined the board, this was still a concept or an idea. They were still looking for a place to call the treatment center to, and when this place was selected, I don't think they could have found anything better. Our first treatment center was a little tin can trailer up on the ledge there. And we had 3 little cabins where the executive director was, and so was the laundry, and I forgot what the other one was. So we'd have to do phone calls and all that stuff. We'd have to go all the way from there down to there. And we were the founding counselors of the program. And about the training that I received, Round Lake has presented us with people who are spiritual healers and they helped us with our difficulties, which are based on, well, in part to, I don't know if this is true, in part to all, that was the healing at that time, to just have booze and go to sleep and have a blackout. And it was the best state of life to be, because there seemed to be nothing worth looking forward to, and all dysfunction families, dysfunctioning reserve. I got my doctorate in drinking, I say, from the Oliver Astorius band, because that's where I did my, well, at that time, my sobriety, I should say my drinking, I was at a chronic state. And whenever I was awake, it was time to drink. Didn't matter, night, day, whatever. In the last chronic part, that's all I could do to live to drink, drink to live. And so then when I hope you edit this whole thing out. Dreams and visionary dreams and a purpose to have this wonderful place for our people. Tinker Watt was here the other night, and he plus some others formed the idea and the thought. And so I've tried at every stage. As a board member, I was on the hiring committee. Different things like that happened over the years. And in 1979, we opened with our first group of 12 clients. And we did a lot down here by the lake. The elders at that time was Napoleon and Elizabeth. There were many elders that started coming from the surrounding territories so that they could hear what this place was and why it was here. And there was, wonderful, wonderful talks. I wish those had been recorded as a history of, because a lot of those elders are gone. They're gone. And I did all that I can. I've always been a very busy person. And that's why I was given the Indian name of Winum Winum, because they're the only bird that can fly backward, forwards, and get anywhere they want. And it did suit my style at that time. And that's over 30 years ago. I still know the names of the first client group. And most of the clients that I work with, and I remember their eyes and their story, because you've got to remember that some of them are more than 30 years sober. They came in an effort to not hurt as much, so they came here for treatment to help themselves more. And so those who came, even though they were court appointed or the welfare or social services had taken their children away, there was always a reason that they would come. Over the involvement of the treatment center, people come for all sorts of different reasons now. Our first clientele as a group were older people. Those were the real alcoholics, they said. And because we had the tin can trailer up there, we'd always tell them in the counseling sessions that if you guys do really well, we will be able to have a new treatment center. That, and so I think we frightened them into a lot of sobriety. Or actually, I prefer to think that they shared in that wonderful thing happening for all our people. We had inmates from the prison system, and we reached out for all different types of people. But initially, it is a healing, and I'm so grateful to say it stayed that way all these years. In fact, I think the program itself and with the people who deliver and work so hard in that area, have kept it a really beautiful spiritual healing place that they can fill their heart to. They're all special people. I saw so many out here today that, they're sober in their 20-some years, and we just hug and remember when. And I was privileged to be holding people as they give out their song and their story and their hurts and their pains. And so when I see them today, we just look at each other and we know what we know about spirit. That's a real privilege for me, because the only place I was welcome is outside. But anyway, when I worked here, I started to work here, and I've said when. And when I worked here, I gave up the job of being a board member. And I was really amazed that they would interview me as one of the counseling staff. And so it was with great confusion, because it's sort of like there's an object to your working. The object is to get them to, not them, they gave birth to their thing. That I always give the people a challenge. I say, well, if you really don't like how this program is operating, and it's not enough for you, you stay sober, you go get training, and you come back as a counselor and show us how it should be done. And there have been a few over time that have done that, and they've come on to staff. And of course, when I went to the chief's, the big meeting at the coast, I went there. No matter where I go, I see somebody who's come through these doors, and it's spread out so far, or it is one person talking to another, learning about how to physically give up the drug or drink as your choice, and come to believe in something greater than ourselves, and then giving up the spirit to be replaced with the higher power, or the creator. People have their own names and stuff for that Holy One. And once they cry to that, they don't look back. They just don't return. And that's the light that's given to me as a worker when they've really come to the bottom of their pain. And they share it with us, whoever we are at the time. That's the strength that enables everybody to continue on. There's some really tragic things that have happened to people that are in treatment. And thank God there's a whole bunch and a bigger percentage that are out there working in different areas of responsibility. It is, well, that's, I don't know what you want to say it, who that's attributed to. There's a lot of people with a lot of willingness and a lot of prayers and a lot of work to have this concept come into reality, and actually being the buildings that we, as staff, we had an option as to how we wanted to see these buildings erected, and had a great part before the the architect even came here. Whenever I come in as a resource now, and I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and that's my greatest fulfillment of being with people that have decided they want to change their life, and they find out how hard it is. Last night I slept in the building over there. How many of those people have ever slept in a place that is 4-star lodging? Because everything is there. It is just so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that they thought in those terms when it was being built. And it's, what do you call it? I don't know. I can't think of anything that describes it except that it is a healing place, right from first entrance, first checking in, the whole process of 6 weeks, and then when they're going back home. And I've gone to many of the marble ceremonies, and I just about cry all the time through the ceremony, because people have thought that there was nobody for them, and their family comes back with their little kids around, Daddy, Mommy. And there's usually some of their home support groups that's with them. And you just know they're going to do great, and they do. I love this place. It's a very special place. And it's always a privilege to come here for any reason. And I'm saying and, George. Well, I find in camera very stressful, if you want to call it that. And yet I don't mind. For all the people who've come here and all the people that have served in many special ways. Or I can't individualize people, sorry, because then I'll forget some of the people that I want to mention. And so if I mention names, I don't want to, because there's so many people have contributed to this place.
General.
Pardon?
You can keep it general.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of being a part of this life of healing, spirituality, and I do know for a fact of myself that when a client comes here, and I don't like calling them clients, when our people come here and they step into this place, a lot of them are very overwhelmed already because they never knew it would be so beautiful. And I know when they step into this place and all that it is, it's a very spiritual entrance. It's like giving birth again. And it was painful, and it is painful. And our heart goes with them as they go along in their new choices of things to think about themselves as. And every day here is, not even when I'm here. When I'm not here too, I think of this place and all the people that I've had the privilege to be with. And also, I do not forget the people who died. There's many of them. Many. Too many. When we first came here, we swore a little oath, and it was, we'll work here as long as there's any, well, I shouldn't say that word, drunk Indians, but you'll do something with that, until there isn't anybody left in native country that has the addictions. And so we're here for a while. We thought it could all be done pretty easily. They keep coming up with new things and new addictions and all that. So as you can only do it for yourself, and that's the scary part. So as a supporting staff person, I just cannot describe what a wonderful feeling that it is to be a witness to and a participant with those who walk the red road and the road of healing. So thank you very much for everything that I have benefit from, the training, all, and the people who have helped us. And it's teamwork here. It's teamwork from every department that works in this area here in the center. It's all teamwork with the same focus. Love them, love them, love them. And I sure have a lot of people to love today. And I thank you for it. Happy anniversary, Round Lake and staff and everyone who played such a big part in the success of Round Lake Treatment Center. I thank you for that. Poops,